Hey, welcome back to my garage. I'm back here with this rough turned camphor bowl. I harvested it back in December of last year. Put anchorseal on it after I chainsawed it into different bowl blanks. Rough turned this at the beginning of July, as this shows, and it was still really green. Held a lot of moisture. You can see here, if you're interested, I detailed how I dried it out. It was just in its shavings for 2 months, and those shavings got too dry and I just tossed them. So it's just been sitting out here with no anchor seal. It's moved, it's stabilized, lost over 1,400 grams, over 37% of its weight. Not one crack, but it has moved, so it needs to be trued up. There's some scuff marks in here from probably a catch or something as I was rough turning it. I wasn't being careful as I was just hogging it out. But you can see it looks pretty good. 0 cracks. Just got to get it trued up on the jam chuck. So if you're interested, here's how I dried it out. That details how it moved. I'm gonna get it mounted on the jam chuck so we can true up the tenon, true up the outside of the bowl. Oh, and here's another piece of that camphor. Yeah, December is when I harvested it, painted it with anchor seal. That's a 30-pound beast right there, 16 by 16, that I'm sending to my buddy Juan up in Canada. Area 51 is his channel, which I'll link whenever this video gets done. These seem to take me a week or two to finish. But anyhow, let me get this mounted up and start truing up the outside of this beast. Okay, all loaded up. Gonna be turning about 550. It's out of balance, so it's gonna be rough at first. I obviously can't get a cut on the bevel right here with this tailstock, and the tailstock has to be there pushing against the jam chuck. So I'm just scraping for right now. I can get a bevel about right there. So I'm scraping this end, then I'll move the camera and level out the rest. But you can see it's getting a cut. I'm trying to get round again. It's amazing how strong, obviously there'll be tear out with that kind of scraping, but it's amazing how the smell is still so strong, even dry. It's like fixed vapor rub. Anyhow, let me move you over, bring you back. I gotta go real slow and let this do the cutting, or else it starts hopping around, right? Because it gets thick, thin with the movement. But anyhow, I stopped because I gotta get a mask on. It's already overpowering. Just a part of truing it up. I got my mask on so you might not hear me. Look how pretty that wood is. I'm not even trying right yet. Good cut, there's some cut out. Man, beautiful wood. Anyhow, I'm gonna get a sharper, smaller ball gouge. And now that it's pretty trued up and running running much truer, right? Now I'm going to get a good cut on this and then I can fix up the tenant. I screwed up that last part. Gotta blend it a little better. Oops. I'll lose my gouge over the edge. Anyhow, till that last part, from there to there, it's a good surface. Not bad. Just have to fix that, blend it in, fix down here, blend it in, then I can get to the bottom. See you back in a minute. Alright, got this done. Switch tool rest so I can get the tenant with the skew. Let's see where we're at. So slightly over 3/8 of an inch deep for a tenant. It's a little bigger than I wanted. So it should be about 3.5 inches now. I had made it extra big when I turned it wet, right? You leave a bunch of extra room. So it should be about 3.5 inches now that I took that down. Now you see it's running completely true. The whole bowl's true, right? So just that little bit of work on the outside. Got the outside surface completely true. Now the tenant's true. And now I can flip it around in my 4-inch 4-jaw chucks and I can access everything that I need to. But I really don't need to, other than I'll sand it all at once when I get it flipped around and after I turn out the inside. But I'll be able to access everything in the jaws except for the bottom of this tenant, which will get turned out anyway. But there's really no need to. It's turning true. All it needs is a good sand. And you can, anyhow, I don't know if the lead will see it or the camera will see it in the light. But man, it's like, God, does that come through in the camera? I'm gonna try to bring you over here. It's like the light dances, that chatoyance, as it just dances in the grain and comes together. Oh, I have high hopes for this bowl. Hopefully it comes out cool. Anyhow, I'm talking too much, so this will get too long again. But outside's trued up. It's pretty late, so tomorrow I'll flip it around, or whenever I come back to this, I'll flip it around in the 4-jaw chuck and start working on the inside. All right, it's 2 days later. Got it in the 4-jaw chuck. Off camera, I just trued up this outside rim. I gotta start hogging out the middle, and that's what I'm gonna bring it back for. But just wanted to show, after the 2 days, it's still running completely true, so all good. I'll be hogging this out with a small 40-40 bull gouge at what, 765. Anyhow, I'll bring it back in a second as I get this set up. Lots of dust. I'm gonna have to put my mask on again. Getting a good cut. It's not flexing too much because it's dry. It should be about a 1/2 inch thick right now. A little bit more. Oh, 1/2 inch. So I'm getting a little bounce on there. I had to switch up and go to my swept back bowl gouge to get a better second handle this curve and a bigger gouge. So got to reach pretty far in there. So that little 40-40 just not cutting it. It's getting a good surface. I'm gonna obviously make it a little thinner than this. I was considering cutting a little groove in here and having like an inlay, but I'm not gonna do it on this one. Anyhow, I'll come back to the bottom after that, but I'm gonna get these sides established here. Maybe a couple more passes, bring it down to about a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8, somewhere between there. Bring it back in a second. This stuff is dusty. Yeah, pretty uniform. Got a pretty uniform curve down up here, and it raises up. I'll take care of the bottom with the scraper, just to make sure I don't screw up as I come across this curve. A little bit more. Man, is that dusty. It's flexing a little bit on the outside. It's 11 3/4 by 4.5. But it's starting to flex a little bit, so there's no tear out. There's a little line there where I readjusted. And no tear out. Might be time to move the scraper and get the bottom blended into the sides, because yeah, that's a 1/4 inch. It's probably as thin as I'm going to be able to go here.
blending it in. Gotta lower my tool rest here, toolbar, and get the negative rake scraper out. Not bad. Let's see where we're at. Ooh. Just reconfirming. Yeah, I got 3/8 thickness on the bottom, and I have to go concave on that. So it's a 1/4 inch thick here down to here. So that's as far as I can go going concave. Just gonna make sure I have the best surface I can and bring it back for sanding. Bowl's pretty much ready to go. Sanded 120 to 600, forward and reverse, obviously depending if I was sanding the inside or the outside of the bowl. Hopefully you can see the colors here. I love sanding to 600, it gives such a good surface, which is glass. Hope you can see the light bounce. I'll show you on the outside too what I'm talking about. It's got some interesting colors. I'm curious to see how it turns out with the finish. The heartwood, I don't know if I'd call it spalting or whatever, but it had some colors, and then I was trying to get some mold and some stuff going on the outside, but it really didn't have enough time for that. Just interesting colors. Interesting grain. It's surprisingly, I'm going to move you over. It works a lot like mahogany. Obviously it smells different, looks different, but it behaves very much like mahogany. Very similar grain. There, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see that, the way the light just kind of goes, ripples through. Beautiful colors, beautiful surface. There it goes again on this side. I love the way the light just kind of dances in the grain. It's amazing. Goes apart and comes together. Just a beautiful, beautiful bowl. Anyhow, it's sanded, it's done. It's 4.5 inches high, 11 3/4 inch. As I move you all around, 11 3/4 inch this way, perfectly round. It hasn't warped at all, obviously, because I dried this out. It's 4 1/4 inches deep, so it is 1/4 inch thick throughout, which means when I turn out that tenon, I'm gonna have to be very careful. I'm just gonna go a hair concave on the bottom to get it to stand right, because I don't want to go much thinner than that and risk making a lampshade. Anyhow, I just wanted to show this wood. I'm gonna clean up. See, everything's all dusty and stuff. Clean up, and then I'll put sanding sealer on it tonight. Probably come back tomorrow and finish this beauty with axe. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful salad bowl. All right. Let's get some sanding sealer on this thing. I know I'm doing it the lazy way. I should put it in a container. I sure hope that shows through. Do 2 coats of this, front and back. Buff it off with steel wool in between the coats. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll use axe tomorrow. Have a good night. All right, let's get some of this paste on here. This going. Mask on or face shield on so I don't get squirted. Should help if I turn the lathe on. Pretty clean. Let's see how it looks. Not bad. Pretty good. All right, I'll bring you back with the wax in a minute. The wax. It's awkward. I'm doing a lot of this left-handed, arthritis or whatever, and this knuckle's acting up. Reaching across doing it left-handed. Let me see if I can show you this. Looking outstanding. Bring it around for the crazy view. There you go. Beautiful, huh? All right, that's the bowl. Now I'll see if I can get the tenon off of there without making it into a lampshade. See you soon. All right, it's running true. This bowl is flawless and I don't have much room for air on the bottom, so just praying I do this well. That little tiny 40-40 doesn't have to extend so far here, and it was just sharper gouge, so a little bit more to go. Let's see where we're at. Not a bad surface. A couple little lines, but that's easily sandable. Main thing is, yes, it's concave, but maybe somewhere between a 1/16 of an inch over here at the edge, maybe an 1/8 of an inch down here at the middle. So I think I'm gonna stop here and I'll chisel this little nub off camera. Let you see it right there. Let's see how it's running. I think I'll just chisel that nub off camera and take the easy way out and bring it back after I sand and finish the bottom. I've taken it down a little bit more, obviously, with the detailed spindle gouge. I'm gonna give it one last shot here. Man, there's only a couple fibers holding that on. There, perfect. Perfect. It stopped spinning. Didn't break. Let me set this down. Absolutely perfect. Of course, this is when you see how that just falls right off. Perfect. Bottom just needs to be sanded, signed, finished. Just in case you're curious as to how I sand the bottom. It's not the best here, but that's sanded to 600. A cheap little dust extraction. Anyhow, you can use a drill press, which works really good, but I just prefer doing it very carefully by hand. Got an 1/8 of an inch concave. It sits really well on the bottom. Anyhow, I'm gonna get this signed and finished, and we'll come back with the finished product. All right, I'm back with the final camphor bowl. Just giving it a final weight, 663 grams. Anyhow, came out absolutely flawless. Just gorgeous. I've already shown you how the light plays into it. Here's the bottom side. The sides, there's just no flaws. It's a remarkable piece of wood. Other than that little spot, there's no branches, there's no cracking, anything like that. Just came out absolutely perfect. Little simple salad bowl. Anyhow, twice turned, right? First turning, I don't know how to link that video to it, but you can find it in my list of videos. The first turning, it was really green, it was nice and smooth. Fun turning, created big ribbons and all that. This second turning, obviously, the wood's much harder, much dustier, but you get rid of all that movement. So this bowl's not gonna change. It's gonna stay perfectly round, just perfectly proportioned like this for however long it exists. That's the beauty of twice turning something. Anyhow, you saw how I finished it with axe abrasive paste. Did a wonderful job. Then off the lathe, after I signed this, I finished the bottom with Mahoney's walnut oil. That seems to be my go-to trick. It blends in perfectly. And like when I turn those cedar bowls, you can still smell the camphor, the Vick's Vapor Rub smell here at the bottom. So it's a nice little feature to be able to keep with the bowl. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this project. It was definitely really cool to do. Look forward to doing the next one. Thanks again for watching. Take care.